Hi everyone. We are back with one more interview. This time we are with Professor Balamurugan sir. He may not be so renowned in this part of India, but he is a renowned person in Ethiopia because he moved there 8 to 9 years before, working for an United Nations scheme. He was a man who has brought about a lot of changes in my teaching career, so I owe him a lot. And he was a very strong principal, and we are so unfortunate that he was not able to continue in this very competitive and very negative ambience once it was, because that time there was very less admission available, and there was a lot of backbiting, lot of problems that was happening. So he had to leave India, but I'm so proud and I'm so delighted to bring his views and ideas to our viewers through this interview. Let's go to the interview session. Thank you.
Welcome to the program, sir. It's nice to see you after a very long time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Arunachalam. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Doing well. Sir, I would like to recall few events between us before going into this program. You are the one who was very instrumental in making me do PhD, and you are the one who got me the guideship from Anand sir. If not for you, Anand sir would have not considered me as a student for his guideship. So I should be very thankful to you in that regard. And you are such a selfless person, sir, I have met in my life. And I thought you had lot of your elements installed in me. Initially, when I came as a teacher, you are the one who guided me properly, and you gave me lot of vision, and you told me how to move with students. That was the turning point in my career, because until then I did not know how to move with students. You are the one who taught me that. So I wanted to know a lot of things from you, because you have grown up in your profession a lot compared to before. And I want to extract few informations from you, so that that will be a good source of information for our youngsters and students, particularly in India.
Sure, Arunachalam. Yeah, for me, you deserve whatever you have, and I wish you will have more in your life. And it is not like senior or junior for me. I have learned so many things from you as well. You know it. We got educated together in Vellore CMC for a period of time. And you deserve whatever you have now and whatever you have achieved, and you deserve more for me. So, and if I had made any positive influence on you, I'm happy. And thank you so much for acknowledging.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, I have got 12 questions for you, sir. So we'll go about
Please.
it. I'll start with the education field in Africa, because none of us know more about Africa. How is education, physiotherapy education, and how is the profession as such in Africa?
I got recruited to Ethiopia University of Gondar through an UNDP program, United Nations Development Program. The UN wanted to improve physical therapy here, like other professions. So I got recruited by UNDP. When I came here, the field has already started, like 2005, something like that. They started the course, and they had a lot of Europeans coming here and teaching them. They have a harmonized curriculum throughout the country. They have a same curriculum, and they revise them regularly. And the field is in good hands, because it is the government which runs education here. So it's not like ours, where a lot of private players are there. Government runs the education here, and the Ministry of Education frequently monitors if the outcome of learning is achieved. The system is more of European system here. Okay. So it's in the good hands. It is a good opportunity for the students and the teachers as well. Now, I learned a lot in this past 8 years here. I've been here for 8 years, and I've learned a lot related to teaching methodologies, pedagogies, research in particular. Yeah.
Great.
It's in good hands for me.
Yeah. Of late, we have controversy here about the osteopathy and chiro practitioners and the competition with physiotherapy, and the people educate that you also should know elements of osteopathy and chiropractic. Some of them say that it's not fair to know the other things. There are a lot of borders between that. We should not cross it. Or there are no evidences for osteopathy and chiropractic. I personally feel that if osteopathy comes up here and this name osteopathy gets more popular, there will be some universities which are ready to start up osteopathy courses in India also. If in that case scenario, how will be the situation, sir? What is your opinion? How it is in Africa?
You should not see if the field is competitive to us. If the field really has a patient outcome, if it can treat people, if you can get outcome, you cannot stop the field growing. We can't do nothing about it. And if you have an option, if you feel you have an option to learn them and to practice them, you can always, for me, this is my own opinion. I know many of my seniors, many of my teachers, even in my times, they practiced chiro, they practiced osteopathy. It's okay if you feel you're comfortable, you can learn it. And if you feel it has a patient outcome, it can cure problems, then there is nothing wrong in learning them, and learn them from a good teacher and practice them within the limits of the skill. It's okay for me, because you cannot stop it. If a particular field is proving to be effective and it is overtaking your field, and it's not your field, for me, osteopathy and chiro has a physio background. For me, they all have a physio background, and most of them are physios for me. So it's okay to expand. If you feel you can do it, you can expand. Or else there is another option. Try to improve the skills in your field and try to make it more effective than osteopathy or chiro, so that you're safer. Otherwise, you cannot stop a particular field growing.
Okay, but there is no empirical evidence for certain treatment procedures which are in osteopathy. They say that if you manipulate your liver, you have your shoulder pain, and for that, there is no evidence for such things, and they just claim that, still in hypothesis.
Yeah. Biomechanics of shoulder, when I learned in 1995, is completely different from biomechanics of shoulder now. Evidences might come.
Yeah.
You cannot rule out, and you cannot keep a full stop that there is no evidence now. Yes, there is no evidence now. Animal studies are going on. A few human studies I heard in Australia. Michael Stanboke is a pioneer in myofascial release. I had the opportunity to meet him here in Ethiopia. He was here for 10 days training. He trained us in myofascial release, and their team are working on evidence. It might come. The field is ever expanding, like physio. You cannot catch up with all the boundaries. It is expanding in all directions. That is why we slowly got specialization. We found out direction, because we cannot catch all the boundaries from all sides. It is expanding so quickly.
Okay, true. Sir, how an ideal teacher should be? Because you had always told me, but I want you to tell to people how an ideal teacher in the current scenario, how he has to be.
Now, when I did my undergraduation, we were trained by some very good teachers. Like I was so unfortunate that I could not sit in the classroom of Professor Dandabani sir. So unfortunate that I did not have even a small chapter from him. But still, we had good teachers. I even had teachers who were trained by Professor Dandabani sir. Like I would like to mention few names: Sundaram sir, Amuda madam, Janaki madam, Mohan Gandhi sir, Radhakrishnan sir. There are so many people. They did not learn about Bloom's taxonomy. They did not learn pedagogy. They were teacher by themselves. They were that teacher thing is inside them. They were brought up by good teachers. So they inherited their teachers. So a good teacher, to be a teacher is always very difficult. There is a constant barrage of methodologies. You have to fine-tune yourself every time. And the most important motto should be students' interest. all these changes should come from you based on students' interest, not your personal interest. Then you will evaluate, you will evolve as a teacher slowly. It takes time. For many people, it takes a lot of time. For me, it's even taking time.
Okay. That shows your humbleness. Sir, you had been a principal in a college here in Chennai. Though you had been there for a short period, maybe 2 or 3 years, you have been
3 years. Yeah.
3 years. You have been hailed as a very strong and stubborn principal, student-oriented principal, not a management-oriented principal. I hear a lot of seniors hailing you that once you had a confrontation with your management and you resigned immediately on table and you left, and your management called you back and convinced you to come back to the job and do your duties. That was your abilities, and you proved that to your management. What are the limitations of a principal in College of Physiotherapy, sir, in India?
Especially if you work in a private management, and if the management has a lot of interest on financial profits, then you have a bad time in your hand. Like, you cannot manage properly because students' interest is lost, quality of education is lost. Now it's about admission, fees, money, and how much profit. So sometimes you will have to be very stubborn, stand against the management, where you might lose your job in the process. You should be ready for it. And sometimes you will have to take some bold decisions which the management might not be interested in. So it is, for me it is very difficult to be a principal in a management which does not have interest in quality education. I'm not talking about all private institutions. There are good institutions. You studied in one of them, Sri Ramachandra Medical College. So you have Savita, you have SRM. So there are some small institutions which doesn't care about quality. It's about quantity, 400, 500 students with a ratio of 20, 25 odd staffs for a practical program. That's cruel for me. That's cruel, and you're ditching the futures of many students in the name of profit. I don't think government, I wish the government, should step in and do something. Or I request the university, our university, the Tamil Nadu Dr. MGR Medical University, to step in and take some action on it. Otherwise, we are going to waste a lot of talents in the name of profit. For me, being a principal is very challenging, especially if your institution is not a quality one.
Well said, sir. Sir, when we were working together, admission of 10, 20 students was uphill task. But you will believe that we had good staffs. We were good teachers we had, and in spite of that, the admission was very poor. Suddenly things changed, and now we have 100, 200. There are universities, admitting 400, 500 students to BPT. This inflation is good or bad? How this inflation has happened, and where this is going to lead?
See, this admissions purely depends upon the job opportunities. When we were working in a university for a period of time, not throughout, for a period of time, engineering was booming, and paramedical courses had least admission, and we had the least of them all. So this is based on job opportunities. And now suddenly healthcare sector is booming. Now we have more admissions, and we have to be very careful here. Now we have to, it is not right to say we should not train 500 physios. If the country is expecting, if there is a demand for the field, more physios needed throughout the country. If the patient physio ratio is very less number of physios, then we'll have to train 500. But are we equipped to train 500? Do we have enough teachers, qualified teachers? Do we have enough skill labs? Do we have enough materials? Can we manage? Is the institution really equipped to manage 500 students? Then it's fine. then it's fine. And otherwise, it's again terribly wrong. Then we are diluting the profession. We will disappear. We will disappear. We will all disappear.
Sir, one question I would like to ask you, ever since I was a teacher, is why did you leave India? And why you are so reluctant to come back?
You know, we both were interested in doing a PhD program. We went for the entrance exam, and luckily I cleared along with you. And I had a decision between pursuing my PhD program, or I had an opportunity to work under United Nations Development Program in Ethiopia. I had several reasons to choose Ethiopia. One is, number one reason is financial constraint. I needed a lot of money. I'm well pasted now here. I'm earning a lot of money. So that was number one reason. And two, the system in India, the colleges I worked is not right. I felt, it's not the right place for me. It's a self-assessment. I felt, I'm not pasted well. I'm not treated well. And there were a lot of wrong things. Even I'll have to be a part of it. When I was a principal, I did so many things for the sake of the system, for the sake of the management. You cannot oppose all 100 points raised by the management. You can stand against one or two. So I felt, something bad. I could not sleep properly. So I choose, to go to a better place where physical therapy is practiced and educated properly. And I would have left Ethiopia if it is not so. I found, we people talk about developing world. They practice education so perfectly. We have such good system here. The educational system is so good. So the students are trained properly. So I pinned myself here, and I'm afraid even now to come back. It.
Yeah. I don't know how many of the past principals or present principals will confess like you, frankly, I don't know, sir. But what I strongly felt was, when I was a faculty, when you were given the principal post at a renowned college, maybe I don't want to hide the name, in Dr. MGR University. If you have taken that responsibility and progressed as a principal there in such a good management, and I thought the physiotherapy profession as such would have been better right now down the lane after 10 years. That's what I feel strongly. That's why I raised this question to you. Sir, what do you think about the gap between the clinicians and the academicians? Is there a gap there in Africa also, and how do you see it in India?
No, we have a different terminology. We adopted the terminologies from the European practices. We call them clinical academicians and academic clinicians. So a clinical academician is a one who has a primary objective of academics, but involves himself in laboratory researches, clinical researches, and even treating patients and transferring skills to the other physios who are working with him. The academic clinicians are those who work with the patients, and they involve themselves in research by enrolling those patients into research works. So we are equally paid, by the way. There is no payment discriminations. We are equally paid. The workers are almost equal, and we have a integration system. We integrate both. So for me, like I think, Professor Dandabani sir quoted this. There is no clinician, there is no academician. We are two in one. We have both roles, and sometimes one role predominates, but you still have to another role, because an academician who don't know how to treat the patient and how good he will be in teaching the students how to treat patients. So, and a clinician has to eventually learn how to educate a patient. Patient education is always the first step of all treatments. So it's both.
So you are specialized in hand rehabilitation, MPT in hand rehabilitation, right? So why that is a gone species now? Why people are not taking that so seriously like ortho, neurocardio? Hand is the one thing which is used to explore the entire world. Such a significant thing. Why it has lost its track?
Yeah. No, I wish you asked this question. You know, otherwise I would have acknowledged this question. You know, no offense to neurology. No offense to neurology. Hand has a topic of interest will easily surpass brain. You know, brain can have ideas, concepts, but who will do it? Who will materialize whatever the brain thinks? It's hand. So I don't know what happened when I started my MPT. Hand was the least paid in terms of tuition fees, and eventually within 4 years it disappeared. It's not the same in the developed world or even here. It's not the same. Each specialization has its own weightage, has its own limitation. I don't think, that's where, I thought not only hand, no, it's community physiotherapy. We lost community physiotherapy.
Yes.
We had MPT in obstetrics and gynecology. We lost it. And now suddenly we see many people starting, seminars, workshops on antenatal care, postnatal cares, and people are going and learning them. You cannot stop specialization. The field is expanding, and you will have to find out one direction and travel in it. You choose neuro, and I choose hand. And many people did not choose, which is good for me, because we still have heavy demand. A lot of people aren't there. That's a wrong phenomenon, wrong policy we followed, and we lost it.
Okay. Rightly said, sir. Sir, there are a lot of changes in the pedagogy and teaching methods. Vertical integration, small group learning, concept mapping, all these things are being practiced in some renowned colleges who have some vision, as you said. Savita is practicing, I know that. Ramachandra also practicing these types of different pedagogies. Do you see positives in that or negative in that? And how do you compare this with the conventional teaching?
When I had teachers from the government colleges, I don't think they differentiated between these two. They had teaching and learning process in the mind. They did not follow all these theories or all these concepts, but they had different ways of teaching people, like 1:1 sometime. I've been with good teachers who stand in front of me with one patient, one teacher, and one student. Sometimes they divide us into small groups. They throw open-ended questions, and we will come up with some answers, and they will evaluate them. They will ask us reasons. They will ask us to reflect what we have learned. It is not repeating what we have learned. It is reflecting what we thought, what is our ideology. That induced a lot of development in us. We believe that we can still think and come up with not only synthesis, some creative ideas, which we may implement in the future or near future. And they also had this idea of summative assessment. They evaluate us periodically. They call us and tell us, you're lagging behind. That's 3-4 months before the final examination. So before the formative assessment, before they say you passed and failed, they would have called us several times and would have told us, you're lagging behind. And they know where we are lagging. But now it is not practiced in many of the institutions, as you told me.
Sir, how do you see the student psychology changing nowadays? Because I see a lot of students are interested in teaching. It's a very encouraging scenario in India. You see in this lockdown period, there are a lot of youngsters coming out as resource person, and they are starting up YouTube channels, and they are also conducting webinars on their own. Do you see a positive scenario with this lockdown and all these webinars conducted among youngsters, or some people discourage them doing this? I personally don't discourage them, but many of my friends I know, they say these people are not resource person, they are just platform presenters. All these blah blahs they say about discourage about students. How do you see them?
E-learning definitely has challenges because ours is a different discipline. It's a unique one where there is a lot of hands-on skills. You'll have to see sometime, you'll have to feel sometime, you'll have to do many times, and you still do wrong. But webinars and e-learning has a lot of challenges. It will give you only the concept and ideology. It's okay, any sort of learning. Or even audio, hearing somebody talk, and you learn a small bit of it, it's fine. But now we are not allowed for personal contacts. So we have a lot of constraints this time because of COVID. The only option we have is webinars, e-learning, materials, reading them. And when a time comes, we can still go out and try out what they said us and see if it is working or not, and decide on yourself whether it is good or bad.
I can proudly tell you that there are a lot of teachers, that is resource persons coming out from the youngsters now. They are very confident and they are coming out with knowledge. How they are distracted commonly?
I had more talented students, so fortunate, very, very fortunate to have so much talented, students and colleagues, some of them. I learned from my colleagues. I learned from my students. You keep learning. If something is wrong, just ignore. If it goes beyond the limits, the rules are there to take care of themselves. You don't have to know. If you're not that big a person, if you're not that bigger brain, then keep quiet sometime.
True. I still hear this word, people saying that I am Bala sir's product. They are so proud to say that. So how a student-teacher relationship should be, sir? What is the borders, boundaries, and how should be the chemistry?
Yep, very important. Sometimes you wanted to be a good teacher, and what you do is you put the ladder straight up facing the sky, not on the wall. You don't put the ladder on the wall, you put straight facing the sky. And it is very difficult for the students to climb. Let them know you're holding the ladder underneath. And you will not let the ladder fall. So don't allow the students or teachers' expectation to have a negative impact on the students. Carefully transfer what you are expecting. And make sure you give them enough practice. You induce enough motivation in them, and you make them believe that you are always underneath throughout their career. If something goes wrong, you're always there to guide them. Then you will see the real ability of a student. Believe in them, and just don't make comparisons. Different students with different motives. Some wanted to be a clinician, some academicians, some might become a businessman, entrepreneurs. There are so many different talents inside. Recognize them. Whatever their goal is, there are different goals. Put the ladders facing sky. It is difficult climbing, but tell them you're holding the ladder in the bottom.
Great.
That will make them climb.
Sir, you left India nearly 8-9 years before. You left all your friends disappointed here. It was my responsibility to take such a legendary person to people. At the end of this session, would you like to thank anybody in your career?
Well, there are a lot of thanks. I should say. I should not forget to say thanks to many people. One is my mother. She's no more now. And if it is not her, I'm not there. My family supported me throughout, my wife, my sister, my niece and nephew. Obviously, my teachers, I would like to touch their feet. It is only because of them I'm earning some money. I'm being recognized by few people. Whatever knowledge I had is all because of them. Sundaram sir, Amuda madam, Janaki madam, Ashok sir, Mohan Gandhi sir, Radha Krishnan sir. There are so many. And then my friends and colleagues. In my personal life, I had two of my friends, best friends. One of them is Jayavel, and the other one is Sindamur. I'm so thankful to God to have friends like them. And I had friends in my field. You, Kavita, Srilekha madam, Karthikeyan sir, Vijay Selvan sir, Nagaraj from Mada, Priya madam, Subhashini madam, Anandraj sir, Manigandan from Mada, Koti Reddy, Ganeshan sir, Purachi sir. I was so lucky to have very good colleagues. I had few bad of them, but all these people, they're so supportive, and I slowly climbed with their help. So thank you so much, sir, for giving me this opportunity to express myself. Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, it's more or less like an not like an interview. It is like an autobiography and sharing our own back memories, good memories we had in the past. Thank you so much, sir. I think this information will go deep into many students, and many people will take
note
of it. Yes, take a note of it. What I felt, why I asked certain questions to you, sir, there are a lot of dispute in the field. The answer from you will be unbiased, because you are nowhere related to people here. So your answers will be unbiased and will be considered because you are such an academician. And that will help in policymakers of Tamil Nadu and India in the IAP as well as the management to take a note of it. Though we can't claim that this will change, but they'll definitely take a leaf out of your book. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
sir.
I wish and request people who are sitting in chairs. I hope, I know most of them. They're all good people. I know youngsters in physio are very good now, and I hope these people will bring about good changes. And I'm hoping that I'll come back. By the time I come back, the field is what it was before, in 1990s during Professor Dadamani sir time. I hope, it comes back to that golden time. And I wish if it is so, I would happily come there.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.